Today's lesson is grammar lesson number 6, compound predicates. Please write this heading at the top of your paper. Grammar lesson number 6, compound predicates. Your I can statement is, I can identify compound predicates in a sentence. I can identify compound predicates in a sentence. Okay, thinking back to yesterday, we talked about compound subjects. So sometimes we have sentences in which two or more different subjects share the same verb. In this type of situation, when we're talking about compound predicates, we're talking about one subject sharing multiple verbs. So it's one subject maybe doing multiple things at the same time, or one subject in which we're telling two different things about. So let's start with the definition of what a compound verb is. So let's do a little star here and say a compound verb consists of two or more verbs, consists of two or more verbs that are joined by a conjunction, and that have the same subject. Okay, so let's try an example. Ben overslept but caught his bus anyway. Ben overslept but caught his bus anyway. Ben overslept but caught his bus anyway. So the subject of our sentence is Ben. Okay. What did Ben do? Well, he overslept to begin with. This is our first predicate. But then he also caught his bus anyway. So our verbs are overslept and caught. So he did two things, making it a compound, more than one predicate, compound, more than one verb. So Ben overslept, number one, and he caught his bus anyway. We're using the conjunction here of but. Okay. Some other common conjunctions that we could write, common conjunctions. Okay. Would be but for starters. Okay. We could also use and, or, neither, nor. Okay, and the list does go on. These are just some of them. Let's do another example. Sammy hums, sings, or listens to the radio all day. Sammy hums, sings, or listens to the radio all day. So first, what's the subject of our sentence? Who or what is it focusing on? It's focusing on Sammy. It's our subject. And what is Sammy doing? Sammy is first humming, so he hums. What else? Sings. And what else? Listens to the radio all day. Okay, so we're looking at 1, 2, 3 things that Sammy is doing in this one. So it's a compound predicate. More than one thing that he's doing, more than one verb in the sentence. And another example. My father bought a Chinese wok and cooked vegetables in it. My father bought a Chinese wok and cooked vegetables in it. Okay, so what is the subject of our sentence? Who or what is it focusing on? It's focusing on my father. Okay, this is our subject. What is our father doing? Well, he bought a Chinese wok. This is our first predicate. And cooked vegetables in it. This is our second predicate. Okay. In this example, we use the conjunction of and in the previous example, we used the conjunction of or. Okay, so we're combining all of the things that they're doing using a conjunction, and it has to be more than one in order to be a compound predicate. Otherwise, it's just a predicate. All right, so I'm going to let you practice a little bit. Let's write 3 sentences. So let's do a star and write the word practice. All right, I would like you to circle the compound predicates and number each of them. Okay, I'll give you an example of exactly what I want that to look like. So on the first one, it's May and her parents. May and her parents left Vietnam and arrived in California in 2004. Left Vietnam and arrived in California in 2004. Okay, so my directions are to circle the compound predicates and number each of them. So I want you to circle them separately. So May would be our subject. May and, looks like I left out a word here. May and her parents left Vietnam and arrived. Okay, so left Vietnam is our first predicate. So I'm going to circle it, and then I'm going to write a 1 and circle that right above it to identify it as the first predicate. And arrived in California in 2004, and I'm going to put a 2 above that to show that that's my second predicate in the sentence. Okay? And here are your 3 sentences that I want you to use for practice. The first one is, Julie received good grades and made the honor roll. Julie received good grades and made the honor roll. Okay, skip a line. Your second practice sentence. Every week, our band practices together and writes songs. Every week, comma, our band practices together and writes songs. Skip a line one more time. And number 3. Before supper, I usually set the table and peel the vegetables. Before supper, I usually set the table. And peel vegetables. Okay, we will check the answers to these three and okay, we will check the answers to these three practice problems tomorrow in class. I hope you have a great night and talk to you later.